They say youth is the time for ambition, for chasing dreams, breaking records, and changing the world. But what if they're wrong? What if the greatest things in life, the deepest purpose, the most profound successes, come after the world says you've aged out of relevance? Today, we bring you real stories, not of young prodigies or tech billionaires in their 20s, but of ordinary people who did extraordinary things after the age of 60. Maybe you've told yourself, it's too late for me. This video will gently, powerfully prove you wrong. These are not fairy tales. These are true accounts of people just like you, with wrinkles, aches, wisdom, and time-tested hearts, who decided their story wasn't over yet. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and open your heart. This might just change how you see the rest of your life. Grandma Moses, the painter who started at 78. Imagine being nearly 80 and just starting your life's work. That was Anna Mary Robertson Moses, better known as Grandma Moses. She was a farmer's wife who spent her years raising 5 children, canning fruit, and working the land. Her hands were worn, her back stiff, but her spirit was alive. One day, arthritis made embroidery too painful, so she picked up a paintbrush instead. At 78 years old, she painted her first serious piece. By the time she was in her 80s and 90s, her work hung in museums across the world. Presidents collected her art. She became a household name. Her paintings, filled with nostalgia and rural charm, connected deeply with people. Not because they were perfect, but because they were honest. She once said, "Life is what you make it. Always has been, always will be." She lived to 101 and painted until the very end. Colonel Sanders, the man behind KFC at 65. You know the face, the white suit, the goatee. But what you might not know is that Harland Sanders was over 65 years old when he turned his fried chicken into a global empire. Before that, he failed a lot. He was a gas station operator, a steamboat pilot, even tried selling tires. He had more setbacks than most people could bear. When he hit retirement, he had a small restaurant, a secret recipe, and a $105 Social Security check. That's it. Instead of giving up, he drove from town to town, sleeping in his car, trying to franchise his chicken. He was rejected over 1,000 times before someone said yes. Today, KFC is one of the biggest fast food chains on the planet. Colonel Sanders proved that reinvention has no expiration date, that failure is just fuel, and that your 60s can be the start, not the end, of your most powerful chapter. Laura Ingalls Wilder, author of Little House on the Prairie at 65. Most people know the Little House series, beloved books that became a hit TV show. But few realize they were written by a woman who didn't publish her first novel until she was 65. Laura Ingalls Wilder spent most of her life in quiet hardship. She was a teacher, a farmer's wife, and a mother. Life was not easy. Poverty, harsh winters, the death of her son, these shaped her deeply. But in her later years, encouraged by her daughter, she began writing stories based on her childhood in the American frontier. At 65, her first book was published. By 76, she was a national treasure. Her stories gave generations a window into pioneer life. But even more than that, they showed the world that life experience is the greatest storyteller of all. She wrote with grit, heart, and memory. Proof that the stories we carry aren't meant to fade. They're meant to be shared. The world is filled with late bloomers, people who defy timelines and thrive in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Peter Roget, who created the famous Roget's Thesaurus, published it when he was 73. Gladys Burrell ran her first marathon at 86 and finished the Honolulu Marathon at 92. Harry Bernstein wrote his first best-selling memoir at 96 after a lifetime of quiet living. He called those years the happiest of my life. Then there's Nola Ox, who became the world's oldest college graduate at 95, sitting in class beside her own granddaughter. What do they all have in common? They refused to shrink. They chose growth. They believed their lives were still unfolding, not winding down. Their stories remind us, time doesn't run out. We just stop using it. If you're watching this and you're over 60, please know this: you are not past your prime. You are not irrelevant. You are not done. You have the power to begin again. Not despite your age, because of it. Every scar, every mistake, every hard-earned lesson has given you wisdom that cannot be taught in youth. Whether it's painting, writing, launching a business, mentoring, learning a skill, or simply living more boldly, your time is now. Don't let the world convince you to shrink when your soul still wants to expand. Because the truth is, the world needs the fire of the older generation, the calm, the depth, the courage. Let this be your reminder. You are not too old, and it is not too late. If this video inspired you, even just a little, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who might need this message today. Let's create a community that celebrates every chapter of life, not just the early ones. Drop a comment below. What dream are you still holding on to? What would you start today if age didn't stop you? Because maybe, just maybe, your best years are still ahead of you.